some rappers actually live the life that they rap about. Here's a list of rappers that were caught up in court cases. First up is YNW Melly. After hit songs such as Mixed Personalities and Blue Balenciagas, rapper YNW Melly was shortly arrested. YNW Melly is the main suspect in the case of YNW Juvie and YNW Sack Chaser's passing. Now it all starts on October 26th in 2018. At roughly 3:30 a.m., YNW Melly, YNW Juvie, YNW Sack Chaser, and YNW Portland were all four at a recording studio getting work done for a new project YNW Melly was soon to release. They then hopped inside of their Jeep and started heading home, the driver of the vehicle being Cortland Henry, otherwise known as YNW Portland, had YNW Melly sitting directly behind him, with Juvie and Sack Chaser on the opposite side of the vehicle. YNW Portland ended up driving on a back road home. This was to skip early morning traffic, allegedly. Now, while law enforcement still doesn't know exactly what happened inside of the vehicle, the theory is that Portland pulled over the vehicle to the side of the road. A distraction was then made inside of the car that caught Juvie and Sack Chaser off guard. This is then when YNW Melly did the act towards both of them while in the vehicle. Now, law enforcement believes it was YNW Melly who did the act due to Melly sending his girlfriend at the time 2 weeks later a Snapchat saying, and I quote, "I kept Portland with me because at the end of the day, he did one of the realest stuff my life." Which could be YNW Melly's way of thanking Portland for remaining loyal and not snitching. Another key piece of evidence is a literal confession from YNW Melly, him being recorded on his cell phone with him admitting to doing it. But after the act was done, the Jeep was then allegedly brought into a side parking lot. This is where nobody was in sight, and that's when YNW Melly and Portland roughed up the vehicle in a 360-degree motion, making it appear as if a drive-by happened. This would then be their excuse for when they end up bringing Sack Chaser and Juvie to the hospital. It ended up taking YNW Melly and Portland 40 minutes to get Juvie and Sack Chaser medical attention. It wasn't until February 13th where YNW Melly was brought into jail for the act that led to Juvie and Sack Chaser's passing. YNW Portland was also brought into jail for 2 counts of accessory and helping Melly cover it up. Law enforcement has been building up evidence against Melly for 2 years. They finally believe that they now have enough evidence to sentence him to life in prison on March 7th. Next on the list, Lil Durk. Now this case begins in 2019. Rappers Lil Durk and King Von were out in Atlanta at a restaurant called The Varsity. Outside of the club, law enforcement claim they have now found video evidence of Lil Durk using a firearm towards an individual named Alexander Witherspoon. This was after Durk and King Von allegedly snatched his chain and stole $30,000 cash from the individual. Police records claim that the two rappers started their day at the recording studio. They ended up staying there until nighttime, and then they went to the gas station before heading over to the Varsity for dinner. At the Varsity parking lot, this is where Durk and King Von found Witherspoon standing outside of his vehicle. King Von and Lil Durk started heading into the Varsity, pretending like they didn't see him, so they had enough time to put on their hoods and think of a plan on what's about to happen. Lil Durk and King Von then approached Alexander Witherspoon standing inside of the parking lot. They then quickly snatched his chain and allegedly robbed him for $30,000 worth of cash, and then Durk and Von stole his vehicle as well and proceeded to drive away. When driving away, video footage caught Lil Durk sticking his arm out of the window and using a firearm towards Witherspoon before driving away from the scene. A warrant went out for Lil Durk's arrest. Before turning himself into jail, he released his hit song Turn Myself In, claiming that he's innocent in this court case and will get through it with no issues. A judge granted Lil Durk and King Von bond in this court case. Durk's bond was $250,000, with conditions that he is not allowed near firearms and he cannot have contact with anyone involved in the case. This is actually the real reason as to why Lil Durk was not with King Von on the night that he sadly passed in Atlanta. Now, the judge in this court case has recently stated that he has now found probable cause to charge Lil Durk for the act alongside 5 other charges involving street activities, holding firearms as a convicted felon, and so on. New evidence has been coming out in this case, which could prove Lil Durk's guilt. As said in the files, there's allegedly security footage of someone's arm coming out of the vehicle and using a firearm. The question is, whose arm was it? The feds are trying to prove that it was Lil Durk's by comparing the tattoos on the individual's arm. For the longest time, the security footage they have has not been good enough quality to see the tattoos clearly. Now allegedly, with better technology, the footage has now become more clear to see, and the court case will be beginning soon, as Lil Durk even stated in his newest song, he should probably start focusing on his case. Third rapper on our list is Pooh Shiesty. Now when Pooh Shiesty started gaining major attention in the rap world, he went to go meet two individuals inside of a parking lot. Shiesty arrives driving a bright green McLaren sports car. When Shiesty and his boy arrived, they hopped out of their cars and they met the two men. They were originally supposed to buy high-end sneakers as well as some narcotics. Now at the time, Shiesty was wearing a mask over his face. This made it very hard for law enforcement to figure out who it was until Shiesty posted selfies with the bright green McLaren sports car that he just did an armed robbery in on his Instagram. Now everything was going normal. Shiesty was showing these two individuals inside of his McLaren and speaking about his music. Then right when the transaction was about to go down, Shiesty allegedly said, "Nah, you know what, I'm good, this is a robbery," and he allegedly then pulls out his firearm and uses it towards the two men, hitting one in the hip and the other one in the backside. Shiesty then hopped back into his McLaren with the goods, but while trying to rush and grab the sneakers and narcotics, a Louis Vuitton bag then fell out of his McLaren, and inside of this Louis Vuitton bag was probably some of the hardest hitting evidence against him. There was $40,912 in cash. Now when you think of Pooh Shiesty, you probably think of the money stretch across his body thing. He loved doing it in photos. Now the feds actually downloaded one of these photos off his Instagram. They zoomed in on the serial number on the bills, and one of the bills matched with the Instagram photo with some of the bills inside of the Louis Vuitton bag. This pretty much proves that it was Pooh Shiesty's bag, it was Shiesty who just did this armed robbery, and it was Shiesty who is going to be now going to prison for 7 years for this one court case. But you need to remember, Shiesty has two ongoing cases. He has this one, and then another thing that happened at a Miami club with him and a security guard. Now if you guys want more in-depth videos on other things rapper related, let us know the topic down below. We could talk about richest rappers, anything that you guys want to see. Anyways, it's been District Trending, and I'm out. Peace.